Hey, I'm going to teach you guys how to work with epoxy on your cups. So far I already have an ombre on this cup. I have a thin layer of epoxy started. But what I did was I'm using the Amazing Clear Cast. I have a part A and a part B. Okay. So these come with medicine cups like this. What I do for this particular cup is I'm using 20 milliliters of A and 20 milliliters of B. I then take those and I put them in a bigger cup like this. It's not, huge or anything. It's like a regular mouthwash cup, and I'm mixing with a silicone brush that looks like this. So when working with epoxy, it's really important that you have the same exact measurements. It's also important that you work in a little bit of a warmer condition, not like super humid, but a little bit warmer, because it does cure better. The reason for these two things is if you don't have equal amounts, then your cup will remain tacky and it'll get fish eyes and just craziness. So also what's really important about working in a warmer environment, it does cure a lot faster. Also, while mixing, you want to make sure before you apply it to your cup that it's not cloudy anymore. It has to be clear because it's the same results. It won't get cured properly, it'll remain tacky, you'll get your fish eyes, all that good stuff. So this is almost ready. So what's cool about the silicone brushes is it does wipe right off, and you can reuse it over and over. With the popsicle sticks, like a lot of people use, you know what a popsicle stick looks like, but with those, they create a lot more bubbles. It's a little pain in the butt. So today I'm using this. It's also a lot easier to scrape the sides with a silicone brush. Alright. I prefer being a little bit more hands-on. So I'm going to wipe that off a little bit. Alright, so you start, you pour a thin layer, you move it around. So a lot of people don't know, and some people do, but epoxy is not really that great for your health. It is a very strong glue, glass-like glue, if that makes it easier to understand. It does put off some fumes. Even if you do not smell it, they're there, and they can affect your health. You are supposed to use a respirator when you work with epoxy. Today I'm not, so that you guys can understand what the heck I'm saying. Also, it is very wise that you work in a well-ventilated area. You also should be wearing a, I don't know if any of you have seen Breaking Bad, but they wear, those meth lab suits, I call them. That's not the name, but it's wise to have some kind of, hazard suit or whatever, so that you're not getting the fumes on your clothes, especially if you have little babies or anybody else's health that you care about, like animals, or if you really love your husband, you want to wear it. The reason for that is because it protects your clothes, and then, because the fumes, even if they're not there, do get into your clothes. You don't want to be walking that throughout your house and, affecting anybody. So, anyway, you want to, protect yourself when working with epoxy. If you don't do your research, or if you don't want to do a whole bunch, I would recommend joining Epoxy Is Not My Friend. It's a group on Facebook. You'll see all the reactions that people get. Some people are allergic to it and don't even realize. Some people aren't allergic but still get a reaction. Their eyes get really puffy, they get rashes, their skin gets really dry, their hands dry out, peeling, just a bunch of crazy stuff. And I mean, that's just to list a couple of things. So you really don't want to play around too much. I mean, every once in a while, if you don't wear a respirator, I'm sure it's okay, but please be safe with this stuff. You really don't want to harm yourself. It's not worth it in the long haul. No money is worth that. No craft is worth that. So anyway. Alright, so what I'm doing once again is I'm putting a thin layer on this. I'm kind of evening it out. I'm making sure everything's good. Everybody's happy, with the glitters. I like when my turner is turning this way, by the way, because then if I have to chase the epoxy, if it's going to fall off the cup, I can go this way and do it rather than, try and mess with the area or get all stuck in the area that's closer to me. You also want to kind of try to apply it a little bit heavier over here by the edge of the cup, because the edge of your cup does get like rough because of the glitter. It's really hard to keep the epoxy in that area. Also, after your epoxy is cured, I like to let it sit for about 24 hours. After it does that, you do want to sand it down, because no matter what you do, you're still going to have some rough spots and some bubbles. So with your first layer, it's just wise. It's wise to sand it down afterwards. Also, you really don't want a cup where you go to put a decal on it and there's like bubbles underneath that decal. It looks so bad. And some people think it doesn't, but I do. So this looks pretty good. I'm going to put a little bit more on there. I don't really need to, but it would be nice to have a nice thick layer to start. And I'm right now going to go through every spot to make sure that I'm not feeling like any glitter peeking through, that maybe I missed a spot or anything. For this particular cup, it's standard magenta and black. Whenever you use black glitter, you do want to add like a little bit of like tiny little bit of white or silver, because a lot of blacks become very dull underneath the epoxy. I don't know why it does that, but it does, and it does not look great. Or if you don't understand what dull means, a very cloudy, like just gross look. Also, when it comes to glitters, use polyester glitter. Don't use any kind of like craft glitter, because the craft glitters are meant for like little kids. They're meant for, hey, I want to sparkle a birthday card, or I want to do this or that. With polyester glitters, they're created a little bit differently, and like if you were to sand it, it's not gonna like, well, not sand it, if you put it under epoxy, it's not going to get like cloudy over time, whereas craft glitter will. So anyway, that is how I epoxy my cup. I'm seeing a rough spot, something in there, I don't know what's going on. But yeah, you want to keep this on the turner for at least 4 hours. It will start getting, I guess you would say, a little bit cured. Let's see, there's that thing. I don't know what that is. It'll be cured a little bit within 30 minutes, but it's still super tacky. It's not done. You need at least 4 hours. So I spin mine for 4 hours, and then I let it sit for up to 10 hours before I do any touching of it. A lot of people are really excited about touching their cups. They're like, oh, is it ready? Is it ready? I don't blame them. These things are awesome. It's so much fun to make. If you really would love to touch your cup, what I would recommend is putting a small dot on your drip pan or parchment paper, paper plate, whatever you have your cup dripping over. And when you're ready to touch your cup to see if it's ready, take a glove, because you don't want to do any kind of skin to skin on epoxy. Take your glove, touch the dot. If the dot sticks to your glove, your cup is not ready. But that's just an easy way to do it so that you don't ruin your cup and have some fingerprints. I've seen some posts where people do have fingerprints. Okay, so I think this is good. Alright, so for easy cleanup, what I do, put my tissue in there, take my glove, wrap it down around my cup, if I can get it. There we go. Pull the fingers out. Same thing from the bottom to the top. Take my popsicle stick, push it in there, and I have a nice little like baggie of epoxy where none of it's touching my skin. I'm now ready to throw that away. What I do, extra precaution, I put it in like a small like Walmart bag, and then I just have at it for the rest of my day. So I hope that helps. You guys have a wonderful day.